Are we still taking a picture, or are we
we
doing
can still
something?
do that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm putting my head up.
Oh, what's happening? What's happening?
Yeah, this pose.
I'm gonna go with the blackout.
Man, Dion, he confused. He said, "I don't know what the fuck going on. Hold up, these niggas doing something else."
It's the usual Out of the Berg podcast. Yeah, but welcome back. We are back with Out of the Berg podcast, Black History Edition. This week, Black athletes, and for that we have a special guest, friend of the podcast, Deon Moore. What's up?
What's up? How y'all doing?
It's good to see you, D.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
It's been a minute.
It has. I think it's been. Were you on here last year for this? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. Him and Jove.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still there. I be forgetting. I'm not gonna lie.
But how you been since? This overall life.
It's been wonderful. Got married, as y'all know, so living the married life. Back in school, just nice. Work. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel you. School and work is not a fun combination.
No, it is not.
So, you know what I'm saying? Chris, Shamar, how's your week? This same old?
Yeah, just same like Dion, just school and work just equals pain. So just keep on pushing.
I'm going to assume it's the same for you, Shamar Moore.
Yeah.
Huh?
Good one. Yeah. Ain't nothing ever changed around here. Just same week, same old bullshit, just a different week.
Yeah, my was cool, but today I actually had a meeting with Common.
With who?
Common the rapper. He did a Black History. So Deloitte had this thing where they invited like a celebrity to meet with us, with the Black people. So we're government, so we're the government sector, and they invited Common to come speak to all the Black government workers that are contracting. So he came. You know what I'm saying? It was like, yo, I didn't even know about it. I didn't even know about it till 30 minutes before, and then I was like, oh, I see a meeting invite. Hey, Common is gonna be. I'm like, what? So, so I clicked it, and it was essentially just a conversation he was just having. Just a general kind of like an interview. So we could have, and there was so many people in there, you couldn't really ask questions.
Did you go?
Huh?
Did you go? I was about to say you should ask them to be on the pod.
Yeah. I was about to say, because that was the first thing popped in my head, man. You voted, man. You over here trying to always say the podcast. You can't ask a simple question.
I folded. Yeah. It'll be hard. It's hard with about 500 people.
Next time.
The 500 plus people in that, it was a lot. But it was cool, man. Being in the meeting with Common's, everything in his raps, he's one of the people that he lives his raps. A lot of people don't live their raps, but he does. How he is when he raps, and you hear the woke and all that, that's literally what he was doing. He even freestyled at that, and it was like, oh. Yeah. This is a dope meeting. Probably the dopest meeting I've been in. But yeah. Cool, man. Well, yeah, man. That was the highlight of my week today, but I mean,
sounds like a pretty good day to me.
Yeah. And I bumped into Jove. What's it called, at LA Fitness like an hour ago. I was at Target running, and I think he told me he's gonna be around there. So I said, "What's up?" And, his jumper's a little weak, so Rel and Kurt and Rodrigo, you see this? Yeah.
Calling you out.
But yeah, I mean, it's been cool, man. But like I said, the topic of the episode is Black athletes. Anyone want to go first with? Because we're all gonna pick 3 to honor. We're gonna go around. So whoever wants to go then first. If anyone wants to break the ice.
I'll go first. I don't mind.
All right, I'll go after Chris, and then Jamar.
I'll let the Gagne. No, I'll let the Gagne go before me.
Okay. Donna. All right. Chris.
All right. So for my first, I'm gonna pull this up so I don't mess up. Yeah. So my first one, I picked FloJo, not aka. Her real name is Florence Joiner, and just for all those who don't know, she's a Olympian, 3-time gold medalist, 2-time silver medalist. She was a track and field runner. She's very, very famous, but also famously died because in her sleep. I forget exactly what the cause was, and I did write it up here, but I'm not going to pull up my notes because I don't know if that messes up the video. But yeah, no, she was a kind of a. I know it's weird to say because I don't look like it, but I always just felt like she was inspirational. And I wasn't a track runner. I did do track. I threw shot put, but I was just like, I'm gonna be good like FloJo in my head all the time. And granted, again, like she was a runner and I was a thrower, but in my head, like as I'm throwing, I'm like FloJo. Like I know that was a weird inspiration, but it's just like to be kind of like in the same field to me, I guess back in that time. I don't know why. It was exactly why it was like her I grabbed onto, especially considering like she was like before my time. But I was heavy in the FloJo. But what about y'all?
Yeah, you said FloJo. Like even that FloJo, that's pop culture. So she kind of, and I'm not even too like into FloJo's career like that, but you can tell on like a pop culture level, she like grasps people, even like the nails.
Mm-hmm.
Nails. You know what I'm saying? Like I look at that and I cringe sometimes. Like, how do you know what I'm saying? But like even that, people have taken that, and obviously she's a legend. Did she ever have? And I don't want to, but did she ever? Correct me if I'm wrong, but did she ever have anything to do with like a drug thing?
They did. I think they did like try to put some accusations, like drug accusations on. I don't know if those were ever proven though.
Okay. But as far as doping, not like drug.
Yeah. That's what I
mean. Okay. Because I think that's something she had to deal with right before her death.
Yeah.
If I'm not, because I could go back and say, but yeah, I think pop culture wise, she was dominant.
And maybe now that I'm thinking more, maybe that was why, because it was just like you run like FloJo. In my head, I was like throw like FloJo. Maybe I just felt like I knew FloJo couldn't be her real name, but I thought it was like her nickname for like being good. Maybe. I don't know. It's just I was connected to that though. I wanted to be good as her as what I was doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's a good pick, Chris. Like,
thank you.
Shamar, anything I want to add to that? Do we just keep this thing moving?
I don't know much. I don't know much about FloJo outside of the nails, like you said. So yeah, I don't have much to contribute. That's all I knew.
Outside the nails.
I ain't gonna hold you, but like anytime I saw that, because like you think about like I watch Martin the Shanae, like I'm like you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I knew those names.
But it's crazy to me. Like that's the thing that everybody always remembers about her. But like, I don't know if it's still true, but I know at least mid 2010, I think 2016, when I was still like watching Olympics pretty heavy. She was still like the record holder for the world record, women's world record for 200. For 200
and 100. Yeah. I know a Jamaican was close, not to. I
don't know if it's been broken yet because I haven't really watched the last two. Yeah, but
I think I remember because it was last year Shakira Richardson, or I don't know if it was 2 years ago or if it was last year, but I remember these Jamaicans like they was killing it, like and I like it was killing it. And I mean Shakira Richardson kind of
in college. I think they said she was the fastest woman in the world because she broke whatever time. But I don't know if they actually held that. I don't know if they gave her that time as like an
actual.
Yeah, like
Okay.
when they say like a world record, I typically think like they're like saying that in like Olympic terms.
Okay, yeah, I'll probably have to look that up then, because I the Jamaicans that ran not too long ago,
Yeah,
I forget their names. They shout out to them. They Black History to Jamaicans. Yeah, all of them fast, man. You know what I'm saying?
But even still, for that record to be held for so long, like I'm thinking about the men's record, that joint be broken. It seemed like every single time I watch it, it's a new record. I'm like, dang.
Yeah, that's true. Usain Bolt kind of has his, but he kind of has his neck on the records, but still, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, I'll go next. I don't really have to, with the one I'm about to say, the ones I picked, I don't really have to do like everybody kind of knows my picks to a certain degree. I'm gonna start with Wilder. He's obviously, when we talk Black people, like I wanted to honor him because he's one of the ones that, he wears it on his chest. I mean, he has the famous, to this day, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I think the reason why like I gravitated towards him wasn't really his boxing skill. It was like his will, like, to win. And like when I like saw his reasoning for like boxing, it wasn't because like he was like greatly skilled. It was to take care of his daughter, who was like terminally ill.
Mm-hmm.
And he did this like in his 20s. Like he legit, because boxing, you start that from like a pup. So he came into this thing like as like our age, like maybe a little bit younger, but like, you know what I'm saying? And he rose and got to heavyweight. Like everybody knows like the heavyweight division, bro. That is like every other division, you got skip, but heavyweight, that's hard.
I think he was like 22, 23, I think.
22, 23, yeah.
Like young, but that's still kind of old to be starting boxing. And
I think he started boxing when he was 19, but got professional 19. When he was. I think he was professional when he was like 22, 23.
Okay.
Yeah, he went for the Olympics when he was 19, correct?
Okay, I just remember hearing something about 19.
Okay,
but regardless, that's old.
That's old, yeah.
To start and then actually like get up to where he is now.
Yeah, so for him to rise the way he did, and to rise the way he did, is the knockout power, bro. That's you get hit with that right, man. It's knock. You know what I'm saying? He was doing that, till I remember, like,
to this day.
To this day, but there was one, I remember it because it was actually on Black History Month, like 2 years ago. I was with Dion Joe and a couple others, and we watched the fight, and I ain't gonna hold you, man. After what I saw, I drove in my car. I ain't play no music. That was an hour drive. I didn't play no music in my car.
This man, Peter, was so mad after that fight. I don't think, like, yo, Peter, you good? I was like, dang, he's taking this one hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way he lost that specific fight, and then after, not to knock him, he took it the wrong way. Like, he just went crazy with the accusations. He did, to me, the third fight kind of redeem himself, like his respect by how he fought, because he went out with he should have been done by at least the 8th round, in my opinion. I don't know when did he get knocked out? The 10th or 11th?
I think it was the 10th.
He got knocked out. He was probably done by the 6th or 7th. He was out of energy.
Wait, you said which one was this one?
The third fight.
The last.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty much gassed. And to his credit, he knocked down Fury twice. I don't know how that white boy get up. Because that first, because
I remember the first he like this, I was like, oh, he's done, and then he just stood up like he was fine.
Yeah,
that honestly sent shivers down my spine. I was just like, that's not right.
The first fight,
woozy.
When he got up like the Undertaker, I was like, God,
no, that was different. Were you at Jovi's house for that?
No, I was actually at a bar, and I watched it with these two white. Because these two white dudes were like, They were like with Fury, and when they saw that, bro, they were like, and I was like, yeah. And then the motherfucker got up, and they were like, and I was like, there ain't no way.
It didn't make any sense. He was asleep.
It was like,
Well, you're right. The hand of God must have just touched him, said, "Get up," because that didn't make no sense to me. I was like, man, they're gonna have to check him for brain damage after that, and he stood up like he was okay.
yeah,
That don't make no sense to me. Still doesn't.
yeah. I mean, Wilder, even though he lost that fight, I still consider him one of the greatest heavyweights just for one doing the fight. A lot of you, Dion knows this. A lot of people don't like to fight people. Boxing is the most politically. If ducking was like a sport, boxers would be like boxing. number one. One.
What's that dude's name? Kept running from Wilder and
Anthony Joshua.
Anthony Joshua.
Yeah,
he could have fought Wilder.
Knocked out by Ruiz.
Got knocked out by Ruiz, and he lost to Usyk. Yeah, Yeah, he's actually not partially Nigerian. So happy Black History Month.
That's the reason why he got knocked out.
As for Ghanaians, we're great boxers. Shout out to all the Ghanaian, Suma Nelson, all of them. Shout out to all of them.
Just don't fight Loma. Just as long as we don't do that, you're good.
Don't. Yeah, don't fight. Leave that alone. Yeah, Ghanaians, stay away from Loma. Yeah, because Comey, yeah, bro, that Lord have mercy. He survived. I'll give him that. I'll give him credit. He survived. But yeah, I mean, Wilder, definitely to me a legend. Even though he lost arguably 3 times to Fury, he's still a legend for what he's achieved. And to me, being 19, 20, going into boxing, doing it for what he did it for his daughter, and to make millions, you don't have to do it no more. Like, I would want him to fight Anthony Joshua, and like, but it's like, it is what it is. Like, you're still respected and goated. I mean, Fury is obviously the best. Can't even. There's some people, and this is not me saying this, but there are people that are saying Fury would beat Ali, but that's not the black man saying that. That's not me saying that. That's just what people have been saying. That's what people have been saying. I'm a black man. I'm never gonna say that. But that's what, but I mean, Wilder is definitely a legend in my books, and a guy I wanted to honor. So I think we've discussed that well enough, but Dion, you could go.
Who do I want to go for? All right. So for my first person, I'm gonna pick someone who probably out of everybody who we all picked had the least success in their sport in terms of accomplishments, but like was probably the most influential in terms of modern day sports, and that's Curt Flood. For those who don't know, he was a baseball player back in the 60s, I believe it was. He played with Pittsburgh, he played with Cincinnati, I think he played with St. Louis. But he had a long career. I think it was 11 years or something like that, which is always successful in professional sports. Anytime you can make it more than 3 years of professional sports, you're doing your thing. But he pretty like not nothing spectacular. I mean, you're not going to hear anybody calling him, the greatest so-and-so ever. But what he did do was he basically started modern day free agency for all sports. So I think it was 1969. He was getting traded from the Cardinals. And basically he was like, nah, like I'm not going. So he was like, I'm not going. And back then baseball had this rule. I can't remember what it was called. It was a certain clause basically where the team just owned your rights forever. Right? Like you on the team, your contract expires. Well, that sucks because you're still going to play for us. And so they traded him, and he was basically like, I think he was getting traded to Philly. And he was like, I think he said he saw something in terms of racism there. He's like, I don't want to go there. But 2, he's like, I'm not going to just be here for 12 years of my life and just pack up and go. So he's like, I'm not going. So he didn't show up. And so he ended up not playing for them. But long story short, this whole situation, basically with that and then the clause and everything, ended up going to the court. I think it went to the Supreme Court, where he was like, look, players need the right to be able to, once their contract is done, they can go to wherever they want to go because they shouldn't be like, the only way they leave is being traded, and bada boom, bada bing, that clause is revoked. And now you have free agency where, you get drafted to a team, you serve your time, but now, the decision, LeBron James couldn't have done that without Kurt Flood. So I think, a lot of times we think of like, athletes who impacted like specifically like baseball, you have Jackie Robinson, you have Willie Mays, you got all these historical figures where it's like, them for being black, Jackie Robinson specifically, but they were also great, right? But like, and let me not say but, because, they did do this stuff off the field as well. But for someone who, was not a Jackie Robinson, was not a Willie Mays, was not a Hank Aaron, someone who was just basically just a guy at that point,
Okay.
to impact baseball and sports in general. I mean, that's not just a baseball thing, basketball, football, soccer, probably US more so, but like for him to impact the sport where it's like, no, players need the choice to go wherever you want. And now you see, in the new age, they take it to a whole nother level where it don't even matter if you've done your rookie contract. Somebody say, I want to go. The team is like, well, we got to trade you. James Harden just got traded, right? Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is like, look, I'm not going to play. I'm not going to play if you don't trade me. So it's like, I don't think any of this could happen without Kurt Flood doing what he did and was like, look, y'all traded me. I'm not going. I should have the right to choose where I want to go after I gave my time. So,
I like
it does change a lot of stuff for like,
yeah,
like all sports. But I never even thought about how like free agency started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Just nah, I'm good. I'm cool. Y'all go ahead.
And especially back then for like a black man that had that sort of like influence, right? You wouldn't have, like, I wouldn't have thought about that. Like, oh, how did free agency start? Oh, a black man was like, I ain't gonna play for this team.
But you said the 60s, right?
Yeah, I think it was 69. Let me look at my notes. Yeah, 69 is when he refused to accept that trade.
And 68 was when we got civil rights. So this is like really like a pivotal time for black people. So yeah, that was definitely a big move because it didn't just affect black people; it affected the whole ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
And like I said, no, go ahead.
No, I was just saying like that's why I like what you said. Like, and as far as bringing this up because it kind of correlates to like what we have now. We have Ben Simmons and James Harden and all that. And don't even get me started with Ben Simmons, but it's just like when you have an athlete that did that, and paved the way, and you see some of these dudes, what they're doing now, you're like, but learn something new every day.
And like I said, to me, the most like impressive part, like I said, is like he wasn't Jackie Robinson. Like I think he ain't even had 100 home runs in his career. I think he had a couple All-Stars, but it's like to me, it's equivalent of like, I don't know, like DeMar DeRozan, right? Like good player, right? But ain't nobody gonna be saying that DeMar DeRozan the best player in the league or nothing like that, right? You ain't gonna think like if DeMar DeRozan say walk, the commissioner gonna walk, right? So for someone to have, like I said, good player, made a couple All-Stars, he was still at the top of his profession, but like just to have that impact is crazy.
Yeah.
And to still feel it today.
Yeah, man, like you said, the LeBron decision, like a lot of the free agents, like the way we are, like after the finals, everybody's focused on who's the free agent, who's coming to this team. Like I think, I'm not into early MLB and even the NFL free agency isn't that hectic, but like NBA free agency is like kind of almost like
every single year.
You know what I'm saying? It's its own event in itself. So, and the amount of money, you gotta think about it too. The amount of money, that decision he did put into a lot of these people's pockets. Sorry if I sound like an old dude, but you know what I'm saying?
Nah, I mean for real, because it's like, look, if now I have like, if I'm like I said, he was good enough to have that opportunity where teams wanted him. So if one team is like, yo, I'm gonna offer you this amount, another team is like, well, I'll offer you this amount. The price is just gonna keep going up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, without that, teams would just been able to be like, you're gonna pay for me for this amount of money, and you're gonna deal with it.
Yeah, and
nothing you could do.
Yeah, so that one decision, put a lot of money in your pockets, man. So, I mean, Yeah, I like that. I like that pick. Yeah, it's a good one. Good one. Tomorrow, if you're ready, you're ready.
Ready. All right. So my first black athlete is a man by the name of Ernie Davis, and Ernie Davis was more known as a college football player. He died sadly after being drafted of leukemia. He died of leukemia. Is it leukemia? I believe it was leukemia, but that's neither here nor there. But kind of in that same era of what Dion was going on about, like the 60s. He was a college football player at Syracuse University back in a time where there was still a lot of racial tension. I think there's still segregation for the most part everywhere you go, especially down south. But his story is, if you haven't seen the movie The Express, which came out like in the late 2000s, around 2008-ish, great sports movie. I highly recommend everybody watch it. Back in that day, college football is not like how it is now. If you're a freshman and you're good enough, you'll play no matter what. Like you got plenty of stud freshmen that just walk on and start for the teams. But back then, if you're a freshman, you just you had to ride the bench for a year. Like you don't get to suit up or nothing. You just miss out on a whole year. So his sophomore year, which would have been the 1959 season, he was a starting running back for Syracuse University, taking over for the great Jim Brown at the time. And then he leads them to an 11-0 record. And then they go to the Cotton Bowl, which is kind of, at the time, that was like one of the premier like bowl games in college football down in Dallas, Texas. And they played the Texas Longhorns, which at the time was like America's team, like kind of how the Cowboys were in the 90s. Like everybody, we love Texas Longhorns. Go Longhorns. Hey, shout out to Dion. He had to throw a little Cowboys.
Oh, no. I detest the Longhorns with a passion. I cannot stand the Longhorns.
Never mind. But never mind. Scrap
you said the Dallas Cowboys, so you know.
Yeah.
The who? The Cowboys.
Hey, we're not worried about that part. We're not worried about that part right now. But yeah, like, I mean, so I really highly recommend watching that movie just because like, you can see how like he was treated. Like there was times where, like, if you watch the movie, I think they played West Virginia University, and you know, most people you think West Virginia, especially during that time, you don't think like a lot of racist people. So like his coach wouldn't let him score a touchdown because they know like the crowds were going to riot. So I think there was one drive where he basically drove the whole length of the field. They got down to the 2-yard line, switched up, put the white running back in, and then let the white running back score. He's like, Coach, what the fuck? Basically, he was like, hey, he looked at Ernie, and he was like, man, look, I can't do this. Like, you're gonna start a riot if you score. So I think next drive or like a couple drives later, same thing happened. He basically drives him all the way down the field. Coach tried to switch him out. He said, nah, Coach, told the running back stay on the sidelines. He scored. And then when I told you that, like, they didn't really like riot, but like that crowd got crazy. Like they was getting their ass kicked. And then like that just put all the life in the crowd, and they just started going after him. But more of the story is like he was the first African American with the Heisman, which is the best college football player in the season. So there's that. And just like, I guess, being that great of an athlete and having to deal with all the other outside stuff you have to deal with, like being a college athlete is tough. I was once one, but never to the extent that he was. And just knowing that like you have every black person cheering for you. Like I said, in the movie, like they show like everybody like huddle around the TV, like listen to the radio. Like whenever they heard his name, black people cheering, like, yeah, that's our guy. That's our guy. So like being that young and then like having basically the weight of every African American in America just on your shoulders, and you producing at the level that you were, that right there is just like within itself an achievement. But then to go on and like become basically one of the greatest college football players of all time, that's amazing.
So that's dope. Like, man, that's like they would have rioted just because. Yeah, you know, it's the times, man. The times, man.
Follow Jim Brown, like Jim Brown.
Jim Brown.
That's different. Exactly.
You know that. But
who's shooting?
They looking for you.
The Springfield ain't no. Never mind. But yeah, that's a dope pick, Shema, because you know I like that you guys pick athletes from the '60s just to see things that they had to go through to get, us where we're at now. Now, and talking about 1 yard lines, Marshawn Lynch. You know what I'm saying? Like, we should have rioted. We should have rioted when they didn't give him the ball. We you know what I'm saying? We should have rioted that day. Like, legit, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I like that pick. I like these picks. I mean, who's back to you, Chris?
Yeah. I think my next one is it's not my notes. Oh yeah. Carl Lewis, of course.
Another track athlete.
What's up?
Another track athlete.
Another track lead.
Oh yeah. That I didn't even do that intentionally. Like in my mind, I was just like spinning the dial. It's like, who will I pick? Because I picked FloJo first, like on pick her first because she first came to mind. And then I flipped a coin. And then somehow I landed on Carl Lewis, who's also a track athlete. And then, I'm not gonna tell you who I got third, but not track. I'm gonna let y'all have that.
Okay.
But Carl Lewis is a 8 or 9-time gold medalist. He's one of the few people to be like, he is probably one of the most dominant track athletes to ever like go to the Olympics. If for many of you who aren't aware, he dominated the Olympics 4 times in a row. And if you don't understand what that means for 16 years, he got a gold medal in the same event, which is basically almost unheard of. It's not impossible. He's not the first one to do that, but it's extremely rare. Let me see what else here, because I don't want to be misquoting myself or misquoting him. 10-time world champion as well. And also, and his career spanned over 16 years as well. 25 years. So just to let you understand like how dominant he was. For 16 of those 25 years, he was on top of the world. And I can't find where I'm back at. Okay, there's sorry, my fault. I was in everything. They don't see everything that I go to, do they, when I do that?
No.
Okay, because I was about to say I was in literally everything but this. Well, see my homework. But where was I? For Carl Lewis.
Carl Lewis
16,
25 years.
Oh, yeah. He was dominant for 16 out of the 25 years he was active as an athlete. And to me, honestly, like people always talk about like the greatest athletes in the world being like basketball players or football players and stuff like that. And then when Usain Bolt came on the scene, they talk about how great he is. But people do talk about how great Carl Lewis is, but like they don't really like put respect on his name to like really understand like how great that is. Like, granted, it was like basically just the one where he got the 4 consecutive, but still that's 16 years. I want you to understand like 16 years of time passes and he's still the best athletically, physically in this one sport, like running. That's nuts. That's crazy. Like, don't nobody do like yes, LeBron James is 38 years old doing this now, like where he's jumping out the gym and he, most of the time when you're that old, you jumping like that. I feel like my knee's about to break. I mean, I'm not that old now, but I feel like my knee's about to break now. So just him doing that is like incredible. But just think about like back in the day, because again, like this was in the, let me pull this up so I'm not wrong. He started in the 70s, ended in the 90s. So you can already like, for those of you who were born in the 2000s, you already understand the jump in like technology and stuff like that compared to how it was back then. Not to mention he's a black athlete.
Yeah.
So like, unless granted, yes, he was like one probably more of a favorite athlete, but it didn't start off that way, I'm sure.
Yeah, Carl. Yeah, I think you're right about like that dominance because we always like and he's not black, but like Tom Brady and LeBron, they're doing it for such a long time, but the OG that's did it for 16 out of 25. Like, that's and like this is like basketball, football. That's a team sport, and I think with football, listen, man. As much as people say Brady's one of the greatest athletes, I agree. I don't put him in that GOAT of like all time because you literally got an O-line protecting you, and you know, as a defense that could literally win you championships. But that's a whole nother argument. But to be a single competitor doing it 16-25, I mean that's and what you said 10. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
10,
come on,
10
like,
world championships.
Yeah, that's
9 gold medals. Yeah,
that's crazy dominance.
And that's a sport that's 100% physical.
Yes,
right?
like and it's
even
all
like even take LeBron. Like, yeah, he's still at his peak. Nah, he's not at his peak physically, but he's still a freak athlete and all of that. But like his mind helps him out a lot, right? If the defense is there, I can do. But nah, track is like run fast, right? There's a technique into everything to it, but at the end of the day, it's like run fast, right? And so what you start, and the two track athletes on here will probably explain better, but would you start track in the Olympics around 20 college? Right? So that means
it depends. I mean, like I was gonna say, like there's some like usually when you're in college, it's kind of like when you start to enter your peak, but or like you
just cut out.
Are you muted?
Oh wait, hold up. What happened to my
internet?
You back?
Give me a second.
Oh, did your AirPods die?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it didn't die, just like disconnected. We're good though. You don't hear me?
Yeah, we're good. We got you good.
All right. Yeah. So like I was saying, like in track, you really only get like 1 or 2 chances to make the Olympics, and even at that, there's no guarantee that you can perform. That you're going to perform well. So for him to go 16 years and just dominate the way he did, like that is unheard of. Well, not unheard of, but that's like such a rare thing that honestly probably won't happen again. And he's saying he's probably the closest to ever do it. But he did it for 3 Olympics. Well, 2.5. That 2016 Olympics in Rio wasn't the best for him because he was at the tail end of his career. But at the same time, so think about it. He only can last two Olympics. Carl was able to last 4. Like that
imagine,
without the. Go ahead, Dion.
Now I was just gonna say, like, imagine if Carl Lewis was like in the social media age, or had the sponsorships. Like, think about, like, I remember watching his last Olympics with Allison Felix and how many like commercials she was in and whatnot during the time and how much her name was being brought up. But like, she wasn't even dominant like that, right?
Right.
Yeah. Like, she was obviously in her prime, she was dominant. But like, I'm talking about this last Olympic. It wasn't like you're like, oh, I'm gonna pick Allison Felix to win. Like, Carl Lewis was like, look, I'm 36 years old and I'm still about to dust y'all. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Disrespectful as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, that's, for black, like, just, yeah, man, I don't know what to say, man, because that is the dominance for 16 to 25 years. And like you guys said, Usain Bolt, although like he came onto the scene and it was like, oh my God, like he killed it in Beijing and in London. I don't even remember like him in Rio. I really don't.
The biggest thing with him in Rio, he's pulled his hammy, I think in the 100 or in the 400, but he was already.
I remember that. Yeah,
that race already, and it was like, damn, like it's like watching a superhero die in the movie. It's like, ain't no way this is true. Like, this is real life. Like, because he was dominant. It's like, damn, I guess he really isn't as super as we thought.
Yeah,
or like probably time always wins in the end is a better phrase.
And that, because that reminds me, because when I was my poor track career, when I was trying to get back into the room of running, I challenged our friend and former co-host of the show, Gerard, to a race. And he was dusting me for a minute. I thought he was gonna win, and then he pulled his hammy. So I mean,
every time,
yeah.
Every time
track isn't an easy thing to do. I did it, and probably should have did it in high school in Ghana. So like, my life choices aren't the best, man. But yeah, it was an experience. It was cool. But the dude down here, Shamar, he was the.
Well, for me, that's Dion.
For me, that's Chris. But Chris is that guy, so.
Y'all at the top of my screen.
So, I mean, wherever Shamar is, left, right, no, yeah, he was the one.
No, that wasn't me.
Okay.
I was just a man that ran around in circles.
Well, pretty good. But, yeah, I think I'll go along with my pick. The next two I'm going to honor are like cultural guys that, especially for this generation and the generation before, were beyond just the sport. So I'm gonna go Michael Vick. Michael Vick, and I'm also gonna go Michael Vick because I'm from Virginia and he was raised in Norfolk, Newport News area. And when Michael Vick became who he was, I was living in Richmond. Man, that dude was the biggest football player. I just and when he was with Virginia Tech, he was huge. But when he went to the Hawks, the Atlanta Hawks, Falcons.
Yeah,
you just got Trey Young.
No, you cool. I was dying my head with you. Yep, that
man.
You just think about Trey Young.
Listen. You infected me with your. Never mind. But I mean, just to see what he did for the Falcons and how he literally revolutionized how quarterbacks play and was so dominant. He was to me, I would say and you could go back and look at some quarterbacks that were able to scramble. He literally was a quarterback that was a running back. And you couldn't do anything to him. You could not stop it. He made, especially kids in our era. In Madden, when we use him, it's like a cheat code. You know what I'm saying? That time when we were playing Madden 04, 05, 06, he was just a different breed. And I mean,
play action pass to a QB scramble every time.
Oh my goodness.
It was a wrap. And I think culturally, and the next guy I'm on honor, which I'll say, but culturally, he was the start of the artists, the hip hop artists coming into the realm and hanging out with the athletes. It did kind of bite him in the butt because he got himself in some trouble, which dogfighting. I don't know why he would do that, but he was the first to every athlete at the time wanted, especially the black athletes, they wanted to be like Michael Vick. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to move like Michael Vick. A lot because of the way he was so free and unapologetically him. A lot, and you even look at it the newer dudes like Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Lamar Jackson's him 2.0. Some even say better. You know what I'm saying? But his influence on the quarterback now, because every quarterback that's nice right now, even with I wouldn't say Aaron Rodgers is a scrambler, but moving in the pocket, throwing it, running, he was directly influenced that. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely put him, as a guy I honor, also being from the Virginia area, and just the influence, the hit, like I said, culturally, all the rappers wanted to be Michael Vick. You know what I'm saying? And Michael Vick wanted to be him. It was and it was at a time when I think those two things were, because now you see like a guy like Quavo hanging out with Trey Young, or them being like that blending. I think that's when it really started. So, but the next guy I'm gonna honor kind of kicked the door open for that. But yeah, and if you know who I'm talking about, if you know. But yeah, that's what I'll say about Michael Vick. Very a cultural icon.
Yeah, no, and you're right. I know when I was younger, I definitely wanted to be like Michael Vick and AI. Though maybe not so much with the attitude, because I've never been much for a talker anyway. But the attitude, I wanted all of that. And to a certain extent, it did rub off on me. To at least be more assertive when I played. And I won't like not the dogfighting, but I would say they were like positive influences on me in that, in at least that aspect.
Yeah. Vick, the dogfight, when that happened, I didn't understand what dogfighting was, but I do know it was something that, where he was from, it was like a culture, like the Norfolk, that area, and he just continued. It's kind of like it's kind of like a gambling addiction. You know what I'm saying? And it just, because I saw the doc about it. It got to he was like making places to do it, and putting up big money. It was like, dog, you got the time, man. Like you,
people get wild about that stuff, man. And cockfights too. People are really into that stuff. Like we'll see it on TV as a joke or something, but like people are really into that.
Yeah, so I mean that's the only kind of like black hole in his resume. But he did come back, went to the Eagles. Had a decent. I would say he had a decent career with the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It kind of didn't end the way you would have wanted for Michael Vick, because I always like the next guy I'm on. Like I always want like this. Just have to get him one. Just have one championship. You know what I'm saying? Like because of how they influenced the generations. But yeah, Mike Vick was definitely that dude.
He was that dude personified, and especially because the Falcons sucked before. Like the Falcons,
yeah, they did.
The Falcons. That I mean, and funny enough, they're in the same division. And the Saints, like they were trash. Like they maybe had one. Like I think honestly, until Michael Vick came, the Falcons never had 2 consecutive winning seasons in their entire history of existence. And so for him to just come out there and be like, "Look, I'm Michael Vick. I'm doing me. I'm doing how I'm going to do," and that's what it is. Like,
coming to think about it,
he's literally like, there's nobody open. There's nowhere to make a play. I'm gonna force this.
I'm open.
I'm open. Yes, exactly. I'm open.
Yeah, he it's kind of like, with Steph with the 3-point shooting, like where people just do it on like when they're not supposed to. He kind of paved the way for us. Like, I'm gonna just run, and then the receiver's like, I'm open.
And it's crazy because I think even more so with Vick than like a Steph, right? Because even with Steph, I could watch TV and now I'm gonna be 100% wrong, but I could be like, I could do that, right? I could. You watch Michael Vick and you like,
oh, you can't do that.
How does he do that? Like, I can't do that. And you can see that reflected in like, yeah, we're talking about, Lamar, Kyler, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, all these scrambling quarterbacks now, but it took 10 years for that to catch on, for that to be the thing, because you literally couldn't find it, right? You had to put what the Dolphins did it, put a wildcat formation to even try to recreate that. I mean, it was different.
RG3 but that was a read option.
Nobody care about him.
You know what? I expect that. You know what? He would say that because
man, he just mad that RG3
destroyed America's team.
His knees. Oh,
his knees, fine, but I mean, time ran out. Time ran out, right, Dion? Time ran out. You know what I'm saying? It's time ran out, and time running out. That's
RG3 would have been fine if he learned how to slide, man.
Yeah,
let's not talk about sliding right now.
You talking about sliding, Chris? No, you talking about sliding,
Let's not
Chris?
talk about sliding right now.
We talking about running out of time, Chris, and you said sliding.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take it back into time, right? Let's not talk about that.
Peter, hold up, Peter. I'll do you one better. If R3 had receivers that could actually catch the ball and actually make legal catches in big games, who knows what the rest of them could have done.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's all right, though.
If the NFL was a sport that, catches were actually catches and like they wasn't make believe catches. Hey, oh, that hurt. That hurt. That hurt.
Like our brother says, accidents always happen. Accidents always happen, man. Like you can't.
Sometimes it's waiting to happen.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it happens. You know, it waits for people. Like some people, it happens. You know, referee. You know, you couldn't spike the ball, and then just the game's over. You know? Like, oh wow.
Imagine having your starting quarterback named Dakota.
On Black History Month, though. On Black History Month, though.
Hey, man, this man is named Dakota, bro. What black people you know live in North or South Dakota? Not one, and I'm going to name my kid Dakota. Fuck out of here.
You know what? For this section of the Chris, I want you to insert the picture of that black lady that made her face like this.
You got to send it to me.
I
know what he's talking about. I know what he's talking about. That is all of that is burned into my brain.
Yeah, we couldn't do a Black History athlete thing and not slander America's so-called team. I had to, it just had to happen. I'm sorry, Dion, has to happen when you're here, but it just has to happen. You know what I'm saying? But Dion, you can if the next guy is who I think it is, it'll be very cliche. But go on.
No. I'm saving the best for last. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna piggyback off of you, right? You pick Michael Vick. I'm gonna pick the person who kind of opened the door for Michael Vick, and that's Warren Moon, right?
Okay, I like
for
that.
those who don't know, I can summarize his career basically by he was the first black quarterback in the Hall of Fame. He's the only player in both the Canadian and the NFL Hall of Fame. So it's like this man was that dude. And the reason I picked him, right, is because like Shamar was earlier talking about Ernie Davis, right? The thing is, back specific, really before Warren Moon, black people didn't play quarterback, right? You saw the Jim Browns, Ernie Davis. You have your receivers, you have your DBs, you have whatever, but quarterback, it was like, they can't play. They're not smart enough to play quarterback. They can't read the field, right? Warren Moon, and it's crazy because he was also, not only was he the first black quarterback in the Hall of Fame, but he's also the first undrafted player to make it to the Hall of Fame, right? So if he was in the NFL his whole career and didn't have to go to Canada first, what he could have done, nobody knows, right? Because I think he came, let me make sure I get this right. But he came into the NFL, he was 27, right? That's players like peaks right now.
Yeah.
I mean, not now. I mean, technology probably pushes later 30s for quarterbacks, but that's right when you learning, all right, I know how to do this, right? And he's coming from Canada at that age, and it's like, and he wasn't just some guy. I think he was a 9 or 10 time Pro Bowler. Basically saved the Oilers franchise. I wouldn't say save, but put them on the map. Now Tennessee Titans, but it's like he was that guy where from them, then you have given Randall Cunningham a chance, right?
Wow.
And Doug Williams with the Washington Redskins at that time. Now the Washington Compadres or whatever they call. You have Doug Williams.
You know what? I'm gonna let you have that. We did the Cowboy slander. I'm gonna let you have that. We'll continue.
That was good, Dion.
But you have Doug Williams, who I honestly thought about picking him, but the Cowboys fan in me couldn't do it because But you have Doug Williams. You have
the first black man to win the Super Bowl, and you can say whatever about the Commanders or whatever. First black man to win the Super Bowl. Black History Month.
Very true. Very true. Very true. I'm not gonna knock Doug Williams. Doug Williams is a cool guy, but you have Doug Williams, you had Michael Vick, and now you have, maybe the three, not this year because Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers is killing it, but I say 3 of the top, 10 quarterbacks, or maybe 5 of the top 10 quarterbacks are all black now, right? Now it's not a thing of like, oh, can they do it, right? Because even in that age of that you were talking about, right, Michael Vick, it was, all right, we can have a black quarterback, but all they're going to do is run, right?
Yeah,
and so
McNabb, that was another one.
And Donovan McNamara. He was really the first one where he used his legs a lot. Not the first one, let me not say that. But in the newer age, after, because Warren Moon, he wasn't really a scrambler per se. I mean, he could run a little bit, but he was more like pocket passer, right? And so McNabb was the first. While McNabb was thriving, Vick was thriving, and they were kind of Donovan McNabb. He probably ran for 600-700 yards a year, right? But it wasn't like Michael Vick. But again, he was doing more than Peyton Manning, right? Yep. But now it's like if you don't have that tool, what are you going to do, right? You better be Tom Brady or you're not going to make it, right?
Yep.
And so it's like you're looking now and you're thinking about, okay, how did this transition happen from where, okay, black people can only play running back to, okay, now you can have Lamar Jackson, you can have Kyler Murray, you can have Dak Prescott, you can have whoever. How did that happen? It's really Warren Moon saying, look, like, I can play quarterback. I don't have to rely on my athleticism. I can rely on my mental ability to process the game. And it's really funny, right? Because the name I'm about to mention does not belong in the conversation of quarterbacks that I'm about to mention. But this is the first player that I always think about modern when I think about Warren Moon, and it's Jameis Winston, right? Because when Jameis Winston came out, I love Jameis Winston. I have a bias, but when Jameis Winston came out, right, people I think were trying to make him to be what he wasn't because he was black. There's like, you hear some analysts talk about, his ability to move, and I'm like, did y'all watch him like at all? Because he is a pocket passer, right? He has a cannon for an arm, and he's gonna sit there and pack. He ain't gonna run around, right? And that's pretty much what Warren Moon did. But because he was black, they just assumed, he Michael Vick, he gonna run around. Now, obviously, nobody Michael Vick, but they assume that, and so it's just like seeing Warren Moon break that to get to the point where now we don't even have the Wonderlic test anymore, right? For those who don't know, the Wonderlic test is a test that NFL quarterbacks take to test their intelligence to see how good they play quarterback, right? Now, if you can throw a ball and you can throw it accurately, I don't think it should matter what score you get on the test, but that's just my personal preference. But it's like we went from there where Warren Moon had to fight through all of that, right? To just be able to get a chance in the NFL. Like I said, he was undrafted, had to go to Canada first, and then prove his way up there to now, you play like Warren Moon, you play like Michael Vick, you play like these running quarterbacks. Now you're the advantage. Now everybody chasing it. And so like I said, to piggyback right off of that, he opened the door for the dude like Michael Vick to really be him, because he was the first one where you're like, oh, okay, my team can win with a black guy at quarterback.
Yeah, and that was honestly the point that I wanted to provide, because even up until recently, like there's still like that bias that where like you don't use a black quarterback. Black quarterbacks don't win. It's not true, obviously. Cause you see that Marshawn at KC, and now they're a threat every year. To win every year, like to be a Super Bowl threat every year. So now that's not even a like a thing that can even be like said anymore. And that all started with him. And so, and also that bias where they thought he was a scrambler. I did remember that, because I think I saw that on ESPN maybe a year or two ago, something like that. But it's just like, I never even made that connection to like where I didn't make that connection where they do that to like all black quarterbacks, but I'd be like, but I don't never think about it that deep, because I'd be like, well, some of them are kind of fast, but it's like, no, not really, because Jameis Winston, like, don't get me wrong, he's got better mobility than most pocket passers, but he's not like he's gonna burn anybody downfield. He's not. So, but they did put that bias on him, and that didn't really make sense at all after like putting that in context.
Yeah, I remember that, but because I remember like when I first saw Jameis Winston, he seemed like, and I remember like this is what scouts were saying. This is not me. Like with people that were into like, they were like, oh, he has a Peyton Manning brain. Like he's deep into the plays, and they usually don't say that about black quarterbacks at all. That they have a brain. So Jameis Winston, like, if you saw what scouts said about him, I think when it went to ESPN and a lot of these media outlets, sometimes they want to feed into like that stereotype of running quarterback and quarterback. Well, black quarterbacks being running quarterbacks, and that's it.
It's easier for people to digest that way.
Yeah, but I think he was the first one that I remember like they said that, like, he had it, but obviously, he's still a good quarterback. I'm not gonna like kill the dude. He's still a good quarterback, but
he's playing good. It's just like you don't never really think about that stigma until like it's in your face,
And it's crazy when you think about it, because if you're not as a black quarterback, it hurts you, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody was, not nobody, but when Mac Jones recently just came out, right? Ain't nobody think about, oh, he's not a runner, because we can see that with our eyes. We know that, right? Yeah. nobody's gonna get him confused for that. Nobody's gonna knock him for that, right? Some people might be like, okay, I prefer Justin Fields, or I prefer Zach Wilson, whoever, because they can move a little bit, but it wasn't gonna kill his draft stock, right? But look at another Washington quarterback, but Dwayne Haskins, when he was coming out, people were talking about his limited mobility, and I'm just like, hold up. But I think it was because he's black, so he's supposed to be able to move, but
right.
Not necessarily, right? They could play the game. Now, his career ain't really pan out, but it's like you put these expectations on them before they get a chance to show you, like, all right, this is what I'm able to do. Ruins careers.
Yeah, right. It's like it's like they're saying, like, well, if quarterback doesn't pan out, you think you go with running the ball, or can you catch,
or tight end?
Right.
They did that with Lamar.
Yeah, but the thing with Lamar,
what's the name for? I think it was Cleveland. Pryor.
Terrell Pryor.
Terrell Pryor.
Yeah. But even with like Lamar Jackson, right? And this is the thing where like they also at times, like with I don't know, like with Lamar Jackson, he's another case where a lot of the scouts didn't want to take him because that's all he could do.
Mm-hmm.
Was run. Like he wasn't the greatest passer, and a lot of people he slid. I was livid because we could have drafted him. The Washington football team could have drafted him. I forgot who we took in that draft, and he slid all the way to like a late first round pick, or was it the second? Like I think legit.
No, he was 30. He was 31st. 31st. One of the two.
And I'm like, all these scouts saying, well, he runs, but he can't really throw the ball accuracy. Kind of like it was the craziest thing they said about him, right? And this has not aged well. They said he was Tim Tebow. No, I'm legit. That's what they were saying about him.
Yeah, no,
they said he was Tim Tebow, and I'm like, oh, that take has aged so horribly because he can throw the ball. Mm-hmm. Like he's not Aaron Rodgers with it or like Mahomes, but he's made a lot of great passes. So
that was another thing. When like I guess now that we're talking about it, kind of bringing it back up to me, because I feel like me and Dion, me and somebody at Javon's house, maybe it might have been Dion, had this conversation before, but it's like, why is it that when a white quarterback has some mobility, like Tebow could run somewhat, but he wasn't. It's not like he was fast, but they're like, look at him go, like look at him really like run down the field like that.
He's sneaky quick.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, are we watching the same thing? Like, yeah, he's going. And he made the correct decision there, probably because he wasn't going to make that pass, knowing Tebow. But well, I don't think he's like actually like destroying nobody down the field with his legs like that.
I mean, to me, if you ask me, Steve Young had some mobility. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Steve Young.
No, I'm not saying there's no white quarterback with mobility or anything like that. I'm just saying when they have some, they're like out of this world. Yes. As opposed to like when a black quarterback doesn't have as much as they think he will, they're like, I don't know if I really want him.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with the black quarterback. They have to like, I don't know, they just have to judge it on a fair scale, because even with white athletes, like say a Cooper Kupp, right? A lot of people didn't see him being this. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, like I was talking, I don't know who I was talking to, but I was like, I haven't seen an explosive white receiver like this ever.
No. Or the running back, I can't think of his name right now.
Christian McCaffrey, right?
Yeah, McCaffrey.
Yeah, him too. Yeah. So, I mean, I think once we get to a point where the stereotypes are kind of like loosened and we just grade on a scale, but it is shocking to me. It is shocking to see Cooper Kupp doing what he's doing. And I'm not trying to say because he's white or even with Christian guy, because usually like you're just seeing black guys have this. So
yeah,
it is something you're gonna notice, but it's like still judge it on a, judge it on a fair scale. But yeah, I mean, it's good. We got some good picks here, man, today. Shamar, if you wanna take along.
Alrighty. My next pick is a man by the name of Arthur Ashe Jr. The great Arthur Ashe. All right, he's a tennis player. For those that don't know, just a quick kind of rundown on like some of the stuff he's won. He was the first African American to win the U.S. Open in singles, and he was the first African American to win Wimbledon, which is arguably probably one of the biggest tennis tournaments in like the tennis cycle. For you tennis fans out there, I know the group chat is starting to. That's how you know this group chat. The people getting old because now motherfuckers start watching tennis early in the morning.
Hey, tennis lit. Tennis lit.
I'm with you. Tennis is lit. I'm with tennis. But it's like that's how you know people starting getting old because now it's like, damn, who playing tennis early in the morning? Let's see what's on the TV. But yeah, he was.
For once, I'm not old, Shamar. Thank you.
Yeah, nah, you just ain't cultured. That's all it is. Hey.
Can't win, Peter. Can't win.
Can't win. He really thought he had me there. But Arthur Ashe was the first African American man to be ranked number one in the world in tennis. So just on the tennis side alone, he dominated in his day, won multiple titles across all continents, won all major tournaments. But really the biggest reason I chose him was outside of tennis. Like he was a big activist, kind of got tennis into the inner cities. Like you can really thank him for arguably probably the best female tennis player of all time, Serena, and then her sister Venus, and then even like currently now Naomi. Like, well, I don't know where Naomi really like what her background is, but just putting tennis in inner cities, like in the hood, because tennis is.
She's half Asian.
Yeah. So like I said, I don't know like how she grew up. Like I doubt she probably grew up in the inner city, but still giving like an opportunity to somebody of not just black descent, but like just not white, or I guess any like just a minority, giving chances to minority, because tennis is not a rich people's sport, but it's borderline a rich people's sport. Like usually, if you're good at tennis, your parents had money to get you a tennis racket, which aren't cheap, and then like able to get you tennis lessons to get you better and better. So the fact that he was able to do that in inner city and kind of give minorities a chance to like, hey, you can be good as well. You're just as talented. You can be just as talented. It might take a little bit more time and effort you got to put in, but you can do it. And we see it now with Venus and Serena. Like I haven't seen like the movie about their dad and stuff with Will Smith in it, but I'm assuming they probably had that, his impact on tennis probably had to play a big part in them getting into it, or their dad pushing them to get into tennis. Like, hey, you can make a name for yourself here. You can do big things and stuff. So yeah, Arthur Ashe, great guy. And then also, he has an ESPY award named after him, just for like, usually it's given to people who have done like great service, like something crazy, like not crazy, but like something really good. Yeah, like something like really good that just benefited the community. So that's how you know he had like a real big impact, and it's great to see that was an African American man that had that type of impact.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know about. Oh, my fault. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was say Arthur Ashe is from Richmond, Virginia, and as a kid, we were always taught about Arthur Ashe and all the things he did. And I think even in VCU, they have, I don't know if it's a building named after him, but like that was a constant thing I always hear as a kid. Arthur Ashe, how he kind of influenced the tennis world. And even I think my nephew, he was into playing tennis at one point, and I was telling him, "Hey, yo, watch Arthur Ashe." You know what I'm saying? That was the first guy that came to mind. But I just think, like I said, very influential to the next gen, for sure.
Yeah, and Arthur Ashe, as the I guess the tennis guru here. The U.S. Open, one of the stadiums that they play with is Arthur Ashe Stadium up in New York.
Yeah.
But like his influence over James Blake, I don't know if y'all know James Blake, but you have my boy Francis Tiafoe, right? Felix, I don't know how to pronounce. I don't know. He's Canadian French, but I call him AA because his last name is hyphenated AA. But these are all black tennis players, and specifically with him, he's 22, 23, ranked top 10 in the world, right? And it's like we see, even with Arthur Ashe, right? We see Venus and Serena, but outside of that, it's like before I started watching tennis, like who are the other black tennis players? Like Venus, Serena, Sloane Stevens. Right. But now you have, Coco, you have Naomi, you have the dudes I was talking about. So it's like, and especially like what you were saying, right, with the tennis being seen as a rich sport. Tennis started off, actually, I think it's rumored, or the origin of tennis is it was the king sport, right? That's why it's so big in Wimbledon. Wimbledon's so big over in England because it was supposedly started in like the king's backyard on grass. He was just playing tennis, and that's how the sport started. So it's like it's seen as an upper elite sport. And so for a black dude from Richmond, Virginia, to come out and be like, "Yo, I'm about to dominate this, right? I'm about to kill this joint." Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. And I was just gonna say, I didn't know none of that stuff except for like the like the base level stuff. Like I knew he was a black tennis player. I knew he was one of the early ones to do. I didn't know he was the first one to be so like extinguished and when you say he won Wimbledon, first one to win Wimbledon, or what was it? First one to win
the first
U.S. Open.
First African American to win in Wimbledon in the U.S. Open, which is like in tennis, you have 4 major championships: Wimbledon, right, the U.S. Open, the French Open, and Australia Open. I'm pretty sure he won in those as well, but I don't believe he was the first African American to win in like the French Open and an Australia Open. But might be wrong, might not be wrong.
I mean,
neither here nor there.
But I was just gonna say, like, I only knew basically that and like the stadium, and that was about basically all my information on Arthur Ashe. But I do love to hear like stories where like people who do like great things and then they go back to where they're from and they try to spread that influence back into their community, be it through like, like in money or just like in like their actions in the sense like, going back and I don't know, trying to like influence the youth into doing that as well or anything like that. That just always makes me feel like good in my heart when I hear something like that, because like, like you see some wild and crazy stuff on TV all the time, but then you hear like a story like this, like, okay, so humanity's not all, evil and corrupted.
They're all trash. You know what I'm saying? But, he was also, I believe he died pretty young. I think of AIDS.
Yeah, he had HIV. He was a big advocate for that too.
Yeah, he was a huge advocate for that, and that was before Magic, I think. So, like, for him to, have that as African American at that time, and to be an advocate, that's a hero. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely a hero. That's somebody like like, bro, when we're kids, Arthur Ashe. You know what I'm saying? In Richmond, that's like that's a you know what I'm saying? That's a name, you know what I'm saying? Where he's well respected. So I like that picture, man. Good pick. But Chris.
All right.
Last one.
For my last one. not a track star this time. This time is Willie Mays. I'm sure many of y'all out there are aware who he is. He was a baseball player, but back in the Negro Leagues. And for those of you who don't know, Negro Leagues was way back in the day before Black people were allowed to play in the major leagues. They had to play in their own leagues, which was the Negro Leagues. And this is probably back in the 1950s here. And he's basically known for his all around, great play. But like the biggest thing I found, like before he was like known for being a Hall of Famer and being known for his I think he's like is one of the all-time leaders in the home run in home runs. But he was also known for his spectacular catching and leaping, is what the quote I pulled. But just to say he was an all around, like great professional player back in the day. And there was no real specific reason why I picked Willie Mays over Jackie Robinson or anything like that. It's just I knew he was a Negro League player, and just the fact that there was a league called the Negro League back then, and he still decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to play this, and I'm going to be great at it. I'm going to be so great that will actually overshadow those in the was it still the MLB back then, or was it something else? Okay, yeah, the MLB.
It was still MLB.
Because like I couldn't tell you not have maybe a few of the names in the MLB because I don't really watch much baseball. I do know a little bit, but and maybe it's because I'm black as well. But I just always found that fascinating that I've always heard more about some of these Negro League players and like ESPN and all these other outlet sources as opposed to like some of these white players. Or well, not just the white players, but just other players in general. And a lot of these players are coming from like the Negro League, not the MLB.
Yeah. I think to carry on what you said,
especially during that time period, the 1950s.
I know at the time the MLB did notice that those guys were really, really good. And I don't know. I have to probably fact check.
I don't think that's it. I feel like they knew. I feel like they just didn't want other people on the team to be overshadowed.
Yeah. But I heard. I don't know. I have to fact. Like I said, I have to fact check this. But I heard that the Negro League was kind of, in a way, destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Politics. It was about, I would have to, just because of the attention and the talent that they had. It's kind of like, it's a fear of like, if this league keeps going on, it'll actually be bigger than the MLB.
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty
rather,
sure.
We'd rather just have them like, fuck it, make us some money. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I would have to fact check that. That's not something that's something I would have to check. But
I could definitely see some, like behind the closed doors type thing, especially back then in 1950s. They'd be like, okay, all these black athletes are coming together and they decided they're going to do this. And because they came together, now our major league is being overlooked for their Negro League. Again, it's literally named the Negro League. Like there's no hiding what it is there. Like if you're walking up to a Negro League game and you don't know what it is, that's your fault. So they know what they're walking into. At the very least, they know who's going to be there. And so just for it to overshadow the major league, that it was made in place of because they couldn't go anywhere else, and they still were able to overshadow them just because of sheer talent.
Yeah, I mean, the power
Willie Mays was that dude.
Yeah.
Power of black excellence, you know what I'm saying? Because that time period, like in the 40s and 50s, there was, and you gotta know, like the black economic value. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when did the thing happen with the bombing of Black Wall Street? What year?
That was, I want to say 40. No, what couldn't have, let me Google that real quick.
Because I want to, because
1921.
Okay, so that's a little bit, but there's always a fear of black economic power, being a threat. You know what I'm saying? So, not too surprised, but like I said, Willie Mays, if you can make that noise and, in that time, that speaks for itself.
In that
Yeah,
sport.
but that's still segregation.
Yeah,
Excuse
that's still
me.
segregation. That speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? So,
Like Willie Mays, like, and like I like Chris brought it up, like as great of a hitter as he was, that man's fielding was like he would be running off the walls, snacking. You just like, yo, what in the world? Like, like Chris was saying, there's a lot of dudes back in the Negro Leagues that was like, and it's crazy because now Major League Baseball is supposed to be integrating the Negro League stats into baseball history and just making them all baseball stats. But you have dudes back in the Negro Leagues that were probably, all respect to Jackie Robinson, but were probably better than Jackie Robinson, right? Willie Mays is one of them, where he came out and was like, yo, I'm this dude. Another one, Paige Satchel, who he on record saying, look, I was better than Jackie Robinson, right? I could have been Jackie Robinson, right? So you had these dudes, but they literally couldn't be exposed because they weren't allowed.
yeah,
Crazy.
and that's the thing, it's a bittersweet thing. You know what I'm saying? Because look at the icons we have today, like Michael Jordan, LeBron. Let's say if they were in that situation, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? That greatness isn't recognized, and they know that they have it. It's like, it's there. You know what I'm saying? So, that's one of the bittersweet things about that time period, But yeah, I mean, Chris, that's another great pick. Another good one. Yeah. But speaking of like cultural icon, I'm gonna go with my last one. Virginia, I said Michael Vick, and I told you about cultural icons. Allen Iverson is like the ultimate. I think, like, if we're talking about of just 21st century athletes that are cultural icons, I think he's right up there. And I would, and this is just for Black people, not just, you know what, I'll say internationally too, because Allen Iverson is known everywhere. Like, Allen Iverson, and the thing with Allen Iverson, he came out at a time when like the street ball thing was becoming a thing, like late 90s, and the handle, like that was what, like him crossing Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That was like, because like everybody was scared of Jordan at the time. Like, and I noticed as a fact, he's the only player to have to go up against Mike and have a higher scoring than Mike. He's the only person. Like, I think, yeah, even Kobe, because he's higher, even better than Kobe, against Jordan. And that speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? That speaks for his fearlessness. And like, when he came into the league, he was the number one pick the same year as Kobe, Nash, that 96 draft, legendary class, Marbury, Ray out there. And he came in the league and he just torched. I mean, like he torched the league when he came into the league. Like no knock on, recipes Kobe, but Kobe, situations, like it took him to a certain point to get to that dominant guy that legend we have today. But at first, AI was that, like before Kobe really took off with Shaq. AI was that guy. Like everybody wanted to be AI. That I knew, like, as a kid. Like everybody wanted to be Allen Iverson. I think, and you, Dion, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Allen Iverson, T-Mac, and Vince. If we talking popularity, you can say they were more popular than Kobe. Arguably.
All right. AI will give you.
T-Mac at the time. AI.
At what time?
Around like 01 to like 04.
No chance. I'm sorry.
What,
no.
T-Mac?
AI,
you forgot how T-Mac was big?
No.
They were never bigger than Kobe.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I don't know.
Maybe Richmond was on something else, bro. I don't know.
No, they were Kobe.
They
Like,
never bigger
Kobe
than
was.
Kobe.
Don't get me wrong. Kobe, I'm not disrespecting you. But at that time, I'm talking 01 to just 04. You could make an argument that those three. You
Bro,
can
Iverson had
Right
one
after
wearing
Lakers
do-rags.
three-peat?
That's
I was
game
in
changer.
like third grade, and people were going Kobe. What are you
Iverson
talking?
on the
I'll
Bro,
say-
I ain't never
let's
heard
look
nobody
at that
And then came back and played the Pistons?
Car.
I'm talking from 01 to 04.
Yes. Right after we win the three-peat, when we beaten Allen Iverson in the finals, and then the next year beating the Nets, losing to the Spurs,
Man,
but then the next
hey,
year
But
beating the
here's
Pistons.
Y'all should only have two
thing.
of them championships if we keep it a buck.
Relax. Come on, relax. Chill out. I'm just saying. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about this sheer pop because Vince and T-Mac at the time.
Take Vince out of there. Take Vince out of there.
What Vince?
Look,
Vince
I'm
was
not, bro.
No, Vince was that guy.
Vince was trying to play his way out of
He
Toronto.
wasn't as no. He wasn't as good as a player.
Keep my team's name out your mouth.
Hey, I'm just saying.
He wasn't. Vince wasn't as good. I'm not trying to be. I'm just talking sheer popularity.
No chance. That's when Kobe was sitting there on Moesha, bro. Come on now.
Yeah, but
Come on now.
that was early. No, that was early. That was early. Kobe was rapping. No, Kobe wasn't popular for the.
I think
That's
it's the time.
bro. That's Froby. That's Froby.
From
that is Froby.
Don't get me
That's
wrong.
8.
He was
That's Froby.
he was
That's
popular.
8.
He was popular, but at that time,
The only one I will give you is Allen Iverson. But T-Mac and Vince Carter gotta go. They gotta get out of this conversation.
So wait. So if you just compare the two, then who you say was more popular at that time? Just between AI and Kobe. Take out the other two.
I would
I would
say from 96 to 02 is AI. After 02 is Kobe.
All right.
after 02. After 02, yeah. But even still, but just go look. Okay, you know what we could do? All-star votes. At that time,
keep talking about AI. I'll pull it up.
All-star votes. Just look that up, and then if I'm wrong, y'all can get me. But as far as his cultural impact and like him being from Virginia, I feel like I'm Allen Iverson, bro.
No chance. T-Mac didn't even hit 1 million. Kobe at 1,500. Kobe was the third leading vote getter, fourth leading vote getter behind.
What was Vince?
Allen Iverson.
What year is this?
Vince was second. It's in 2001.
2001. Okay, but T-Mac didn't peak. T-Mac's like 02, 03, really. Yeah, you keep that.
I'm looking. Now I'm looking. T-Mac didn't even reach T-Mac didn't even reach 500,000 in 02. Kobe
okay, go to 03. Go to 03. Because 03.
That whole thing, Peter.
Go to 2003. Go to 2003.
Invite him on here.
Kobe still had more. Kobe still had more.
All right. I'm living in nostalgia. Yeah, let's. But I'm just saying.
Look, I was give it to you, but don't come from my boy like that. Don't come from my boy.
No, I wasn't. It wasn't. It was just at the time. Those, if you talk like popular perimeter basketball players.
If you say comparable, that makes more sense. But you said they were over Kobe.
Yeah.
You said comparable.
Yeah. I probably. You're right, Chris. I'm just saying, like those were the four. Yeah, I was. Yeah. Rest in peace, Kobe. My bad, man. But I'm just saying, like, he was at the time the leader of that, right? And like culturally, like how he was like 5'11", 6 feet, skinny dude. These guys were what, 6'6"? Nigga, he was my size, and he was going into the lane against Shaq. You know what I'm saying? And this was Shaq.
But for
this was Shaq
out there, y'all. Peter's not 6'6", but he means his frame.
Yeah. But like he was like AI was going into the lane at the time when guys like Shaq, Mutombo, he's strong. Like you know how big Shaq was at the time. Like Shaq could literally
325.
Yeah, like Shaq. He wasn't scared. Like he had that killer whale, and like also culturally, like pop culture, like he's the reason why like hip hop artists and rappers are like intertwined. Like they say it all the time. Like rappers wanted to be AI, and AI wanted to be him. He even was rapping. You know what I'm saying? It didn't take off like others. Like Kobe kind of took off a little bit, but you know, Shaq was honestly Shaq. Shaq was
Shaq had to go to that.
Yeah, so Shaq took that over. But even though Shaq took that over, if you looked at Shaq was more like a kid-friendly dude. AI looked like a dude in the street. You know what I'm saying? AI looked like.
Well, to be fair, that was also like the media perception of Shaq too, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's
because they wanted a Jolly Giant.
Yeah, because he kind of took over after Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but AI was like anti like what the NBA wanted to promote at the time. And he legit changed because of him.
He changed the whole dress code.
Because he was coming up with the big tees and the braids and everything. So he literally changed like culture for like the whole NBA. And like, you know, like I said, like his will to win, like even what he did, like to go up against the 0-1 Lakers and win a game. Like he's a Laker fan over here. Like that Laker team wasn't supposed to lose.
Two Laker fans. Excuse me.
Yeah, two. Yeah, my bad, Chris. Two Laker. Like,
don't you dare disrespect Chris Kelly like that.
Yeah, I was saying like they were supposed to lose. They were supposed to lose that game. AI legit. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, he's the heart of a champion. You know, like anytime I look at AI, I feel like I'm Allen Iverson. Like a lot of basketball players feel like they're him. You know what I'm saying? Like LeBron, it's like that whole generation. If you ask about Allen Iverson or the most impactful player that they grew up watching, a lot of them was gonna say like Allen Iverson, like first name. Like Chris Paul even said like Chris Paul could play completely different than Allen Iverson. He would say, "Yo, that's why he wears number 3." I think he literally said that. You know what I'm saying? So even D Wade said, "Yeah, I wear number 3 because of AI." So if we just talking impact on the sport and. Like I said, the same way, because him and Michael Vick, legit at the same time, were dominating and like were the shift in like culture for Black people. You know what I'm saying? And bringing it together. So like AI, you know, Virginia team. So yeah, definitely one of my favorite all time.
Before we go to Dion, to connect those two together, AI was just as good a quarterback as Michael Vick when he played in high school. Like he was getting big D1 offers and legit plays the exact same way. Like he was just that elusive guy.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I'm pretty sure they're pretty much the same build. So it's like, imagine both of those guys made to the league at the same time. That shit would have been crazy.
AI was going to pursue football.
Yeah.
If he didn't get in that trouble, he would have been a football player.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He actually said he enjoys football more than basketball. Like, because he said something that like playing basketball at the time was actually seen as soft where he was from, which is another thing. But yeah, like and that's another thing, multi-talented dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that connection with him and Michael Vick, that's real. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're legit like the same person. But yeah, AI always goated in my opinion. Like today's age, there are a lot of basketball players that are going to eclipse him as far as what they've done. You know what I'm saying? Like the Steph Currys.
That's every generation, though.
Yeah, they're gonna eclipse him. They're gonna eclipse him, but you know, I don't think anyone culturally will be on his level.
I want cornrows because of him.
Well, him and Bow Wow.
I didn't want him. I wanted him.
Him and Bow Wow, and they, like Mike too. Like, but yeah, that's my pick for AI. But, Dion, you can go next.
So it's crazy. We picking back off each other again, talking about multicultural, multi-sport athletes, revolutionary culture figures. Now, this guy is very, very, very close to me in my heart, even though I wasn't maybe old enough to watch him play in his peak. I saw his later years, but this man is a cultural icon then and still today. You know, and he was great at his sport, arguably the best to ever do what he did. And most importantly, his name is maybe the greatest name of all time. And I'm talking about Deon Sanders, right? That man, if you want to talk about cultural icon, he got drafted in '89. So in the early '90s with the Atlanta Falcons, he was the one to bring in, the jewelry, the flashy suits, the fur coats into sports, right? That man came in there talking about, you look good, you play good, right? What he said, look good, play good,
Yep.
right? So it's
Yep.
like he started that whole I'm gonna make a fashion statement when I come out onto the field, right? When I used to play football, put a bandana on underneath my helmet because of Dion Sanders, right? I'm literally named after him. That's what I'm saying, right? I'm literally named after this man. Like, that's the only person I know that spells their name like me. My dad denied it for years. I said, "Am I named after Deon Sanders?" Like a couple years ago, he's like, "Yeah," because my dad is a Raiders fan, right? My dad hates the Cowboys. Deon Sanders played for the Cowboys the year I was born, right? So he transcended that, right? But to bring it more to what he's done, I'll talk about playing career first. Like I said before, when we were talking about Michael Vick, the entire history of the Falcons is a very, very sad history for a football team, if you look at it, right? But the moment it started maybe a little bit before, but the moment Deion Sanders stepped onto the field, it was like, oh, this is different. Like, this dude is different. This man ran a 4.21 40 without stretching. He just got up and was like, yo, let me just, dude, that is a record. Like, that is in the record books, and he ain't stretched. And so it's like his athleticism, his ability to literally take away the entire side of a football field, and where quarterbacks are like, I can't throw it over there because that man's not only will pick it, but he'll run it back and dance in my face while he's doing that. I'm just gonna avoid all that, right? He played he got in there as slot receiver for the Falcons sometimes, right? He was a punt returner, a kick returner, and then he played baseball for the Atlanta Braves, right? Like at the same, I was watching this video. He literally, I think he had scored a touchdown, right? And I don't know if he hit a home run or made a play in baseball in the same location of the field because they had gotten rid of the old field and put a baseball field over top of it. I think that's what it was. I could be wrong, but he was that good where, now, obviously, I'm not going to say he was Bo Jackson because Bo Jackson didn't get hurt. He was going to Hall of Fame for baseball. I don't know if Deion Sanders would have been a Hall of Fame baseball player, but the fact that he was still able to do it at that high of a level and be good at it while, again, keeping the same mantra as AI and Michael Vick, being that by being completely him, right? That is as you can see, everybody know Deion Sanders, everybody know primetime, right? But then to transcend that, right? He goes into sports analyst, but now where he's coaching at, right? He's coaching at a HBCU. He's picking top 10 recruits to go to, it's one thing to go to, an HBCU in basketball, right? Because it's all D1, right? You go to Howard, you go to Kentucky. If you good, you're going to go to the tournament. You're going to, do what you need to do. But in football, if you ain't going to Alabama, if you ain't going to Florida State, which is where Deion Sanders went, if you ain't going to Clemson, you ain't going to USC, right? You ain't winning no national championship. It's not gonna happen, right? Every once in a while, you may get, this year like a Cincinnati or somebody but even if you're in a major conference and you're going to one of them schools, you ain't getting looked at, right? But for him to go to an HBCU, right, and poach the top 10 talents from Florida State, and the history behind that is he applied for the Florida State job. They said no. He was like, all right, I'm gonna just take y'all players, right? It's crazy. Imagine LeBron. I guess I can't use LeBron James because he ain't go to college. Imagine Kevin Durant, right? Instead of Texas, right? I ain't going to Texas. I'm going to Howard. I'm going. Bowie's not D1. I'm going to Jackson State. I'm going to You're like, wait, what? Why would you do that? But he's making it nah. I want to look. I'm the number one cornerback in the country. I want to go to play for Deion Sanders, right? And it's he's taking that same swag that he had on the field, the same swag that he had off the field, bring it to coaching ranks, right? My man's almost had his foot gone. My man's on the bench in his little scooter dancing, to riding with his team, getting people to come in to talk to these kids, right? And it's not even just about him coaching football, but he's grooming young men. I follow him on Instagram, I follow him on Twitter. Like I'll be watching YouTube and like I told you I love Deion Sanders, but listening to him talk, especially because he's a coach. I taking a hiatus right now, but I'm a coach too, so it's like listening to how he's not only teaching them the game of football, right? He's teaching them the game of life. He's grooming them into young men, and at HBCU, grooming them into young black men. It's like what he's doing for sports right now. I really don't think like we're grasping it right now, right? Because we're living in it. I know a lot of times when we're living in something, we don't really see it. But when we go back and look like, yo, Deion Sanders it hasn't happened yet, but I would not be surprised. Yo, Deion Sanders had 5 top 25 players come to HBCU. Like, that's crazy. Like that in and of itself is a top 3 recruiting class. And to do that at an HBCU and not Georgia, not Alabama, not USC, like that is different. That is different. And it's like, that man's the icon. That man's the icon.
Honestly, when you talk about Deion Sanders like that and you list out like all his accomplishments, just like, like going up through his career there, he sounds like what a little kid would want to do. Like you're like, okay, Timmy, that sounds like fun, but like in the back of your mind, just like, that's not gonna happen. But then he goes and does it. It's like, wow. He's literally like doing everything everybody said you can't do. Like you can't do football and basketball. I mean, football and baseball. Watch me do it. You can't go and be a sports analyst, then go to a coach at an HBCU. Watch me do it. You can't get top 10 not draft picks recruits. Watch me do it. Literally all of that. He went above and beyond. That is insane. And I already know all his accolades and stuff because I too been following him for like forever, I feel like. But like just to like hear him listed out again, it's just like it's crazy to me because like he is truly an accomplished like human being that transcends even like reality to the extent it's just like if you told somebody that like you listed out his career and somebody had no idea who you were talking about, but they knew all this stuff already, like that's not real. Or what shows that from? Because it doesn't like, sound like something somebody can do.
It honestly reminds me. So I'm about to. I didn't even. All right, this man legitimately played for the New York Yankees and the Dallas Cowboys, right? Regardless of how you feel about those two franchises, those are literally the 2 biggest sports franchises. I'm not going to say in the world because I can't count soccer, but in the United States, those are both 2. 5, not they're over 2, probably like $5-10 billion franchises.
Actually, you're right. Those 2, if you even add soccer teams, they're in top 5, top 10, especially the Yankees. Actually, the Yankees put them in the top 5. Those 2 should be in the top 5.
And he played for both of them professionally. Like, like Chris is saying, like you're gonna be like, what movie you watch? You watch Forrest Gump? Forrest Gump played for Alabama, and he was in the that it sound make believe,
like fantasy.
Yeah, like the fact that is like those are his actual accomplishments, like just contradicts like what you just think like was actually possible. Just like you were professional for 2 different sports. Not related to each other at all. And then, you know what? I'm going to just go ahead and be the sports analyst. You know what? I'm tired of that. I'm going to go ahead and be this coach. What?
I'm going to be a motivational speaker.
I'm going to be a motivational speaker.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Deion, like, it's just like, okay, he just does what he wants.
His career is very, very interesting because right when he got onto the scene with the Hawks, he actually pursued when we were talking about Michael Vick and AI, he actually pursued music, right?
With MC Hammer.
Hammer, like he did records with like MC Hammer. I'm like, yo, this is the. And I'm not saying he was great or bad, but like just to do that just adds to the, And then like even like after he left and he left the Hawks, he won back-to-back Super Bowls with 2 different teams. Like he went with the 49ers. Next year, Cowboys. That's crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's
always a statement to me. Like when like how when Tom Brady left, and then like next year he won. like whenever that happens, it's just like, okay, that wasn't an accident. That's not just an accidental thing that can happen. That was like this player had that effect on that team.
Yeah.
And like kind of like how we were having a conversation earlier in the chat, right, about value, right, to a franchise, right?
Yeah.
And I was talking about quarterbacks. When it comes to football, sports in general, quarterback might be the most valuable position, right? When it comes to like winning games, right? But when Deion Sanders was playing and when he was on the team, he was the most valuable player, right? Regardless of what he actually did on the field, like him just being on your team gave you a whole different type of charisma where you're like, yo, we can win because Deion Sanders is literally going to take away the whole side of the field. Like, we got this, right? He changed the Falcons franchise. He came to the Cowboys. Went to the 49ers, like you said. It's no coincidence that he won a Super Bowl there, come win a Super Bowl there, right? Now, again, football is a team sport. It takes everybody. But it's like, when it comes to that, like if he was playing now, it would be like, I wouldn't be surprised if he was the richest athlete because of just the charisma that he just brings to everything.
Because you look at the cornerbacks that have like they've made noise or they've like like I remember Richard Sherman was making noise early and was becoming that big thing. He kind of fizzled out. Josh Norman, I'm not even going to get into that. But like he also was making noise.
Just to be fair to those two, like people don't understand how like taxing, like not only physically but mentally it is to be like a cornerback. Because like you get put on islands. you're like in one-on-one situations, just like it's either me or him. Hopefully, like the ball is overthrown. But sometimes these dudes are like going to be like 6'5", 6'6", going against like a Megatron, and most corners not going to break 6'2", probably like 185 pounds. You're not going to find a 200-pound corner.
Yeah,
I don't know where you're going to look in the NFL, but you're not going to find one probably.
No, but you know, like just. Just to see where those guys, but like even Jalen Ramsey, well, he doesn't make too much noise, but like, they had somewhat abrasive personalities. If you look at Deion Sanders, he didn't have an abrasive personality, but he was gonna shut you down and do it with some swag too. Like yeah, I did it. Like, yo, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Like, so if today, dog, he'd be something else. He'd be something else, man. Because he knows the value of, he knows how to brand himself. Because he really does know the value of branding. I'll give you that.
He's that type that you hate to play against too, because he probably be like, "It's not your fault." It's not your fault.
Those are the type of
you tried your best.
I'm just
today.
that good. I'm sorry.
Those are the type of people like. I'd rather you like those are the type of you be the maddest at because it's like, no, don't give me sympathy, bro. Don't do that. I'd rather you be a butthole. Don't be giving sympathy. But yeah, it's a great pick, Dion. It's a good pick. Good pick. All right, we go to the last one, Shamar.
I should let Dion go last, for real. That's a tough one to follow. This man came through with all the facts. That's a tough one to follow. But my last guy is a man by the name of Ken Griffey Jr. So we're moving on over to the baseball side of things. Well, Chris already got it started with the baseball side. So just continuing on. So just looking up some of the stats about Ken Griffey. I didn't realize he was in the league for this long of a period. He is one of 29 players that played 4 different calendar decades. So he got his first start in Major League Baseball in 1989 with the Seattle Mariners, and that's kind of when most people would know what Ken Griffey was about. He was there until 99. That was kind of his prime, not towards the end of the 90s, his prime going into early 2000. That's his main that's Ken Griffey Jr. And then, so like I said, 4 decades. He played for 21 years, which is Dion said earlier, for in kind of any pro sport, especially in America, if you play for 3 years or you get past your first or second contract, you had to be one hell of a player. So to play for 21 years in a sport that's so demanding as baseball, we may not see it as demanding, but if you're good, that shit is demanding. And he was a hell of a player. So like he had over 600 home runs, which I'm not entirely sure whether that puts him on the home run record. I'm pretty sure he might be top 10 if I'm not mistaken. But in it, But in the era where, like, in the 90s, steroids were popping. Like, all the best hitters were on steroids, and he was one of the few people that was on steroids. So that's why, like, in regards to that, like, I know, like, if you follow baseball now, like, the biggest thing going on is Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens not making the Hall of Fame because
not to cut you off, but he's seventh. He's seventh on the list with 630.
So top 10 in home runs. With you going to guys that played at the same time that was juicing up, and if you're juicing, like back in that era, like that's when people say that was when baseball was at its peak because there's home runs every game. Like people just hitting the shit out of that ball, letting that shit fly. So just to do that at that time, and then like his awards, like he was a hell of an outfielder, 13-time All-Star. He won he was the American League MVP in '97, multiple Silver Slug award winners. Is like basically like taking into factor all the batting like stats. He was the best batter 7 times. He was a home run leader for a couple of years as well. And then like if you look at the impact he had like outside of sports, like he wasn't really like that. Like there wasn't really not political stuff like the other people we've probably stated. But like if you're any kid that grew up in our time, like it just seemed like everybody had the Air Griffies. Like I went to private school. The 2 years I went to public school, everybody had Air Griffies. I'm like, what the fuck are these? Like, I had never seen them before. But them shits were fire. Don't get me wrong. Those shits are fire. But like, everybody had Air Griffies. And especially as a baseball player, like baseball is it's America's pastime. But like when you think about like most people, you don't think about like a baseball player having a signature shoe, like a signature sneaker. Like you think of Jordans, you think of Kobe's, LeBron's. Football players don't have shit, but like usually you think of basketball players that have like signature sneakers that like everybody rocks. So for him to be a baseball player and have his own sneaker, it's like damn. Like I guess you had to be good. Like there's something special about you. And then like really just overall, I guess the biggest reason why I picked him just because of the sneakers, and then like kind of being the clean player in that era. And he still produced, like he was producing at the same level as everybody else that was quote unquote on steroids, not proven or unproven, or proven or not proven yet. Everything's alleged. But just to produce at the rate he was is just out of this world.
Yeah.
I never even thought about the Ed Griffey thing till you just said that.
Hey.
Well, everybody did have Ed. Well, I didn't.
Everybody had it. Like, I didn't have them either.
That's wild.
Yeah, but that Griffey, because like I looked at the list, right, and like Barry Bonds, like as a kid, I was a huge Barry Bonds fan. That's the only guy I really knew because he was like I remember as a kid when I would watch like the ESPN highlights, Sports Center. Every time there's like a highlight of him just doing this, he's in the top 10, top 10 like highlights every time. Like Barry Bonds was that guy, but like Barry Bonds had the record for like 752 I just saw, and that was the juice in there, right? That was the juice in there.
Yeah,
and you said
he's
Kenny
one of
Griffin,
the big guys. It's like,
and Kenny Griffin didn't juice, and he's at 630. You know what I'm saying? So that alone just tells you how like great he was. Because that was a time when he could have actually did that. Who knows if he did it? He could have got. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? So, respect to Kenny Griffin Jr. Respect.
Griffey. Many of y'all who know me may not know this, but Ken Griffey Jr. is one of my probably 5 favorite athletes ever. I love that man. But like you was just talking about Barry Bonds. Personally, I think Barry Bonds is the greatest baseball player who ever lived. Because pre-juice, he was still that dude. Yeah. But second, right behind him is Ken Griffey. Like Ken Griffey is not by coincidence what number he wear, 24. The legends of the number of greatness. But it's he did it in a way like when I was a kid. I watched baseball probably a lot more than I do now, but it was always it's hard to get through a baseball game. When Griffey came on, oh no, eyes is locked in. Eyes is locked in because I think he was mainly with the Reds when I really remember him, because that was like the early 2000s. It was like 4 or 5 when he was with the Mariners, but even still, it was just like, yo, this man Ken Griffey. They called him the kid. He was fun to watch, right? Kudos to you for picking Griffey.
Yeah. That's a great pick. Everybody we discussed today, like, they're a legend in their own right.
I have one amendment because I had to check something because as I was saying it earlier, I felt like I was wrong and I had to check. It was Carl Lewis. It wasn't 25 years, it was 17 years.
Okay.
So basically for his entire career, he was literally number 1.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, that just makes your point. That just makes your point.
Even better.
Yeah, 15 out of 17 years. Okay, yeah, that's ridiculous. But I think every athlete has had sheer dominance that we talking about. But before we end, because I know we said the black athlete, especially with these professional sports, it's 3 years. If you've made it past 3 years, it shows you're a great athlete. I want to appreciate players like Kwame Brown, who had a longer career than others, but
11 years.
was smothered by people and media. I mean, now he's kind of getting reckless with how he's talking. Respect to him, but he's talking a little crazy. But respect to players like that, because the mental aspect of the game, with today's age, even with social media, it's harder for an athlete to make it past 3 years. It's hard. It's hard, in the conditioning and the technology. Now, you're at back where, we were growing up, you didn't see, highlights. You really had to do your research to see a player, right? You really had, or he had to, blow up. And then kind of like LeBron, right? Where, imagine if LeBron grew up in this era, even his son, right? We have his son's middle school highlights.
It's just crazy to me when you say that out loud. That sounds crazy.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, just for the future, you know what I'm saying? Because Ben Simmons has kind of been the poster boy for the mental health aspect. So good for him. Hopefully he gets it together. But I do think we gotta relax on how taxing we push our black athletes. Because even with Naomi Osaka, also who was the other lady that kind of took a break? I forgot her name. She's she's dominant as hell. It's not Simone Biles. Even them, they just gotta be all right, I gotta take a break. I got this too much. So I just feel just for the future athletes, we gotta just take our time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember they're human too.
Yeah, they're human. They're human. You know what I'm saying? It's there are days they don't want to sign their autograph, man. They just want to go home and sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what talking to an Uber driver. You don't want to talk to an Uber driver. You just want to, hey, take me to where I gotta go and I gotta go sleep.
Right, because I feel like people they'll see them do something superhuman, and then they'll just be wow. So they're actual superhuman. So they're not even tired from it. They could probably do that 50,000 more times, right? Yeah. Nah, I did that the one time. That was crazy. I'm gonna go home.
Yeah. Also, prayers to Antonio Brown. I know he said there's nothing wrong with him, but I'm gonna extend prayers to Antonio Brown. Listen, we have to pray over him. You know what I'm saying? Just pray. Get the how Africans would say, get the anointing oil, and we pray. Yeah, because it's CTE also that's, I know Chris, is that something with football players that's you're hearing more and more?
I mean, and that's the whole where the whole concussion protocol. I almost said percussion protocol.
Okay.
A concussion protocol came in, and I'm sure y'all saw that movie. What was it? Concussion.
Will Smith, yeah.
Will Smith.
Yeah. And then they like to look at like a lot of these football players' brains now to see what's all the damage. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I haven't looked up a lot of stuff from the past, from 2018, because I was looking up a lot of stuff at that time actually. But I do know like they're still trying to find better ways to make it so these players are less likely to get, which is why they also, I don't know if you guys remember the heads up protocol where they had like these they had like, it was on ESPN and they had like the kids on there like they had like programs where they're showing them how to tackle and stuff with the head up, just to all in like preparation to combat that earlier on.
Okay.
Because like it starts like with like consecutive concussions. Because like even myself, like back in the day, like I would get a concussion and like I would know it because like I would like if you're concussed, you're concussed. Like you're either dazed, you're dizzy, or you're seeing stars. Hear that ring in your ear, but then you like
don't remember something.
Yeah, you forget something. Like I'm not soft though.
How painful? Like
I'm soft.
I grew like. As a kid, I have chronic migraines, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I always have something wrong with my head. I'm always having headaches, right? How painful is a concussion? Because I've never had one.
So it depends. My first one, my only one that I've ever had, I don't remember. I could not tell you. Like, I remember being hit. I remember being in line for the next drill. Don't remember what happened in between.
That sounds like it was so you got knocked the fuck out. That's yeah. So I don't want to. But Chris, like, what would you say the pain level of a concussion is?
It's kind of like I don't know if I can even really describe it as pain, because it's like it's not even a throb. It's like just kind of comes in and out. Like, like when you get to like that ringing in your ear.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe any other way than like it kind of matches that. And then like it's not even like during when you first get it, do you really feel it? For me, it's like always like when everything stops is when I feel it. And then it's just like this, like a different version of a headache, kind of.
Okay.
It's just like it's a new type of pain almost. It's like, like when you go to the gym and you work out and then your body's like super sore and just like, I work out that hard.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it feels like, but on your brain.
Okay, no.
At least from what I remember, it's just like,
dog.
Like, why did I do this?
That's being a guy that suffers from a lot of migraines. I don't want to experience that because when I was a kid, I couldn't even handle migraines. I don't think I can handle that.
That's what concussion is. It's like a bruise on your brain.
Okay. Oh Lord. Okay. Yeah. Thank you because I always wondered how that feels and how that. I don't want to feel that pain.
But most of mine, I got dizzy and I would forget. I'd be like, "What were you even? Oh, football? Okay, that's what we're here for." I'm not gonna lie to you.
And it's crazy because back when, for those who know, me and Chris used to play on the same football team. But like back when we used to play football, like coaches would be like, "All right, next in line." Mm-hmm. Like you get up and you be like, "All right." It is what it is.
I'm dizzy. He was like, "Okay, you be all right. Go walk it off."
Thanks for telling me.
That's crazy. But yeah, speak on the topic of football before we close out. Super Bowl is this Sunday. 13th. Up this Sunday.
Yeah.
Who are your picks? You don't have to give a score, but quickly, who are your picks?
Bengals.
Dion?
Team who scores the most points.
Okay, that's a good pick.
Ooh, good shit.
Actually, Rams.
Rams? Oh,
my head is telling me to go with the Rams, but my heart is telling me to go with my boy Joey B.
Okay.
So
Who just flood?
He was an LSU Tiger. See, I feel like that's why I'm torn a little bit.
You know what, Shamar? I wonder who you're gonna pick because your best friend or your homie, he made some crazy bets. I want to know what you. Yeah, I want to know what you're gonna pick.
Who made some crazy?
Drake, your best friend. Yeah, he made some wild bets.
Hey. He got money to be making bets. Me, I ain't got that type of money.
Yes,
but we're gonna go with the Rams. We gotta go with the Rams.
Yeah, Drake would agree. I'm going with the Bengals in a close game. I think they're gonna hurt LA. The greatest thing that's gonna happen that day is that halftime show. That is the greatest thing. I don't care. Listen, I like Joe Burrow. I like Odell. You my guy. But that halftime show with Kendrick.
Wait, who again? Can you repeat that for me?
Kendrick Lamar.
I ain't have both. I need to put both my headphones in.
K-Dot, Kung Fu Kenny.
Oh, all right. All right.
And that's the that's the guy.
Man, I didn't know he still makes music.
We're gonna ignore you.
He make music on his own time.
On his own time. Him, and then you pair him up with Snoop, Dre, Eminem, and then for the ladies, Mary J. Blige. Halftime show gonna be something different.
Whoa, why Mary gotta be for the ladies? I want Mary. Hold on, I'm there for Mary. I ain't care about that.
That's what I was waiting for.
I was trying to be inclusive. I was trying to be inclusive.
Fuck that shit. Hey, Mary for me.
Listen, I love Mary. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. In the verses, I'll probably take Mary over Beyonce. Yes, I said it. Yes, I said it. I take Mary over Beyonce. I'm not
R.I.P. Time mentions. That's crazy.
Honestly. You know where to find him at. you can take it. Hey, if you mad at that, you can take it personal. Yes, sir. How dare you speak some outlandish shit like that?
This is Auntie Mary we talking about. Don't be disrespectful. This is Auntie Mary. That's neither here or there. That's Auntie Mary. Leave her alone. Okay. But I know the Beyonce lovers but yeah, okay, that's our pick. So 2 Bengals. You said Dion. You said Rams. Oh yeah. Okay, Rams and
Dion said Bengals.
Okay, Bengals in your heart. Okay, I get. And then you and Drake obviously are okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, you and Drake are like this, aligned. Yeah. But yeah.
That's
twinning them. But yeah, that's it for the show, guys. I would say if anything else, I think we said that enough today. But that's it for the Black History Month episode, Athletes. Next week, we're likely to have Suave Milan and Young Shaq for entertainers and musicians. So we might do something similar where we'll like present and discuss. We're still, working that out. But those 2 are likely to come next week, so prepare yourselves. Like I always say, you can find us on YouTube at 3:15 Monday Eastern Time. And on all platforms at midnight Eastern Time. Always like, comment, subscribe, rate us, say whatever you like. Just engage with us. Follow us on social media on Out of the Berg. On IG, Out of the Berg Pod on Twitter, and my personal is at Kofi Peter, at Peter Kofi. Let's let Dion go. I guess to social media
at Demo24 on Instagram. I don't even know what my Twitter handle is at this point. It's changed so many times.
I was about to say I can't even think of it.
I think
every time I hop back on, it's something new. What'd you say?
Oh yeah, social media.
Mine is Twitter, BigChris_57, and IG is Everybody Love Chris. But I'm still not on social media, so if y'all hit me up, I will hit you back.
Okay. Now, October very own Shamar, go.
Follow me on everything, Sham_Wild12. And please get in Peter's ass about that Beyonce trade because that shit was so outlandish. I can't believe it.
Dude, listen, you keep disrespecting Auntie Mary, okay?
I mean, nobody disrespect. Hey, I love Auntie Mary. Hey, you heard me? I said I'm excited for her visit, but I can give a shit about everybody else. I've never seen Mary. But you really said that. Hey, wait till next week. Wait till next week.
Listen, I'll say it again. All you Beyonce fans can be mad. And I'll say this. Mary J. Blige is the reason why Beyonce is who she is today. And yes, I said that too. Take that to the bank.
That's fine.
Ha!
That's fine. He think he thought he did something. Chris, make sure you click the part where he's talking that outlandish shit. We're gonna put in the beehive.
All right, like I always say, stay black, stay woke. And yeah, we'll be talking about artists next week if I'm still alive by then.
I ain't gonna be.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Out of the Break podcast. We're available on all podcasting platforms, and we ask that you like, comment, share, and subscribe, as well as hit that notification bell. That way you'll be notified whenever we release a new video. And as always, we like you, we love you, but we gotta go. Bye.